Hey.
Hello, fellow moviegoers. Welcome back to the podcast. Adam West here with Matt and Zach. We're talking about Robin Williams, one of my favorites today. He's fantastic. Matt knows nothing he's in. That might be an exaggeration. I think he knows more than he lets on. But we're going to talk about Robin Williams, the great, the late Robin Williams. What else? Is that it? That's it, right?
We'll just focus on. There's a lot to focus on with him, so
Okay.
we'll just do that.
Well, we're planning it as we go.
Like that's what we'll try to stick to. But you know us.
Movies and chill with Zach and Dill. That'll get my giggle box going.
Movies and chill with Zach and Dill.
Our pet heads are falling off!
Movies and chill
Great Scott!
with Zach and Dill.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Movies and
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
chill.
Well, sorry!
Zach and Dill.
Spartans! Prepare for glory!
The great Oz has spoken.
Movies and chill.
Get to the podcast now.
I said that before we were
I know,
on,
I
so
know.
no
It
one
works,
knows
it
why
works.
you're laughing.
It works.
Yeah.
They probably never know why I'm laughing.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
But just,
all four.
welcome in, and hope you enjoyed the theme song as much as I did. It was great. Never gets old. I love all the things that Zach does to make the intro interesting. Just don't tell him that because it'll go straight to his head. Maybe into his beard. I don't know. We're drinking, I'm not allowed to say, but kind of leads us into our sponsor for this podcast, episode 6, which is not Bud Light. In case you were wondering, we are not sponsored by Bud Light this episode. Don't wonder about the other ones, like
Yeah.
which one we're actually drinking. That's
Yeah.
irrelevant. It's not Bud Light.
I wouldn't have said anything. They would have went back to the other ones like, which one was sponsored by Bud Light?
Not this one.
Yeah, not this one.
Not episode 6.
Well, that's what we're saying. This one's not.
I mean, they tried to. They're flip-flopping a lot.
Yeah, are we going to do this? Let's go into it.
You're the one who brought it up.
I
Yeah,
did.
you did.
I did, and now I can't back off
I
of
don't
it. So
feel bad.
The whole
I feel horrible, but
Switching
I'm
gears.
laughing on the inside.
Because they were like, let's do this, and it went too far. And then they're like, okay, let's bring it back. And then that went way too far.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
it's like, everybody hates them now.
They alienated every single beer drinker in the world.
They lost like, I forget what they said. It was a lot of money. They've lost a ton of money. Because like
Yeah.
nobody wants to sell it.
my whole thing with that is like
Except for
I'm trying to-
Decatur in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I still see
I'm
people
trying to think of what was their idea behind it, what they thought was going to happen.
I
That's what I want to know. What did they think was going to happen? Like, I get it. Like, you're sitting there going, you're trying to go into a group and say, hey, there's this big, thing where people are supporting it, so they'll buy it more because they found out what we did. But then it's like, those
said-
people, they're not drinking your beer.
Well,
They're not.
they're trying to cater to one demographic.
Yeah.
And then when there was backlash on it, they didn't support why they did it. They just kind of let it go, and then that demographic got upset.
Yeah.
So then they backtracked and said, "Oh, we're still America beer," and then
Yeah.
they were like, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
Didn't
No,
they have,
you're not. I'm going to buy all your beer and then
Yeah,
shoot it.
burn it.
I'm going to burn it. You're going to lose so much money
Liquid
because
burn
I'm
so
going to buy
good.
it all and destroy it.
Yeah, that makes me mad.
Liquid
That's
burn
stupid.
so
Like,
good.
I'm sorry. No matter what side, like any type of protest like that makes me laugh. I don't care even if I agree with it. Like when people burn jerseys and stuff, it's like you bought jerseys, now you're burning them. You spent all that money, and now you're just going to burn them.
well, that I get. Like,
Yeah.
you bought it, but you're mad the player left. Like,
Well, I
you
understand
don't
that.
want the
But
jersey
what-
anymore.
But to me,
so
that's
burn
just
it.
like that's stupid. Like it's just a waste.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, when you spend that much money for it, you're like, "Oh, I'm done. I'm burning it." Like I don't.
it's
It's like a Bud
daily.
Light
I'm
thing, you know what I
done.
mean? Like, I'm going to drink this beer now. Instead of pissing it, I'm going to it. You know what I mean? 'Cause
We're in a weird direction with that.
I won't pee it anymore. I'm just,
Okay.
or poop. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I think that's 4 bleeps we got to come up with. But Maybe it'll be a different
We'll
letter.
poop it.
I'm just gonna beep the whole thing.
I just had an idea, like an epiphany.
Yeah.
Every time Matt cusses, we should just like bleep it over with a different letter of the alphabet to see how far we get. by the end of it, son of a Q.
I forgot.
Just be hilarious. No, it's okay.
I was passionate.
Sorry, I appreciate
I'm
that.
passionate
I wasn't going
about
to
that
stop
subject.
you. I was not going to stop you.
If you had to pick a word though, that's probably the least.
That's least offensive.
Pretty
Least
simple.
Yeah.
Plain simple. I'm not gonna pee and I'm gonna poop it. That's really
You know,
all I
but
have
what,
to say.
if you
about
think
it.
about it, if you say poop, it's way funnier anyway.
It is, yeah.
I mean, you're doing
Like I should have
yourself a
said,
favor.
I should have
I
said
like to like
butthole poop.
Dylan.
Poop.
He
You
wanted
have
to
to
get he
enunciate.
wanted to get it
Poop.
perfect to come out of his
Yeah.
mouth. He didn't want to say it wrong.
What if I said pooped?
I just
And then the
That's a
podcast
totally
is over.
that changes it though.
I
That's
just
a
thought
totally
that
different
would be
thing.
like redneck logic.
Yeah.
This beer ain't even good enough for me to pee. You know, like he's only gonna poop it because somehow that, like, I don't know. Like, apparently they can just switch that in their body. I don't know. I didn't have any logic.
You've
behind
given
it.
this a lot of thought.
That's,
Really, I haven't. That's
oh,
just the first thing
Matt,
that
we
came
did.
up.
We have to keep saying that so that it becomes a thing.
What's the thing? Like, say it one more
Pee.
time.
Pee and poopy? I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no. What you just said. It's not.
I want the
It's
phrase.
not good enough
We
to
are
pee, but
looking
I will
for-
poop it.
And
Okay.
I'm not gonna pee that. That ain't American. I don't know.
It's
Like,
something
who
like
knows what they're
That
gonna
could be
say,
our
but
third shirt.
I'm gonna poop it.
We're looking for a third T-shirt. That might be it.
And then I don't even flush it. I don't even
This
flush it.
isn't even good enough to pee.
I'm not gonna flush that.
This isn't good enough to pee. I'm a poop it. And
I'm
on the
a
shirt,
poop it.
on the shirt, it'll say
I forget.
IMMA. I'm a poop it. This
That
is
right? Wasn't that somebody?
off to a great start.
Oh, I know it's great. It reminded me of I forget who it was that said it, but there's a comic that said something that like he was explaining, using the same logic, redneck logic, where it's like, there's no way of me. I'm
David
so.
Cross.
Would they say that?
David
I'm
Cross.
so not gay that I won't poop because I don't want anything.
Oh,
going
he
in my
didn't
butt.
say that.
No,
but
he
I'm
said
saying
something else.
He did a whole red.
No, he did. I'm saying
Yeah.
it's the same logic.
He did the redneck brand.
No, that
They
was
say,
a fight.
they'll
so,
say,
oh.
they'll come up with anything crazy and almost twist it to sound like it's logic.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
their theory, I mean,
Okay,
it's science.
so there's
It's-
that. So
It's science.
so on to what we're trying to talk about.
Bud Light sucks. Bud Light's really
I haven't
bad.
liked it for a long time.
Like their ad recently was just guys grunting, and Matt, you hit it on the head, man. Just
Yeah, like they
like
went
way
so
too far the other
far
way,
the other way.
and nobody's buying it. Nobody believes what you're selling.
Yeah.
It's so.
Well, here's the
You might as well have like Dylan Mulvaney come on in that grunting commercial, be like,
Yeah.
just kidding, still queer.
yeah, but are people mad about Budweiser? Like just Bud Light? Like Bud Light was too far, but I love Budweiser. You know, like I don't
Honestly,
like,
I think that's true.
I really, yeah.
I
like
think
they
it's
don't
true.
like don't
Like they
don't
can't.
you dare
It's
take
more
my Budweiser. You
people,
know what I mean?
people
Like
not buying Bud Light, I think, has more to do with the flack you'll get from your friends than your own personal beliefs.
And your
I
friends,
believe
sure.
that.
And
Because
your
by
friends
that
won't care
logic,
about.
if you have a regular Bud, I don't think anybody's going to say anything.
No.
Because the demographic we're talking about is really petty and stupid.
well, let's just think about this though. Budweiser is red, white, and Bud Light is blue. So
we got rid of the stars.
So if you want to go with a politics, I guess you got rid of the blue, but
Now we're sweet.
I'm thinking about red, white, and blue.
Wow. This is why he's here.
Mhm.
The deep thoughts. And I like how deep your thoughts are. I wrote a couple of my own. Yeah. Oh, it's a thing. We haven't done it in a while, but I'm bringing back my random thoughts. And I call them shower thoughts because usually when I'm in the shower, I think about the most ludicrous, ridiculous things. When I was a landscaper, I used to do it while I was landscaping, just thinking. You remember, when I lived with you fellas, I would come home with the weirdest ideas. But a couple that I thought I should share. The expression, you'll feel better in the morning. We've heard that, right?
Sure.
I feel like that is the equivalent of when like a computer isn't working right, and you just say, just turn it off, turn it back on.
Sure.
That's the human version of turn it on and turn it back on. Is you'll feel better in the morning. And I thought of this because yesterday I was telling you, Zach, my computer that I pulled out of the crypt. I haven't used that computer in like 7 years, and it took 12 hours to update Windows 10 on it. That's how backed up it was, and it made me think like I could hear somebody not knowledgeable about electronics going, "Well, just turn it off and turn it back on," and then I'm thinking to myself, "Well, that wouldn't help my situation here," but you hear that all the time, like. You'll feel better in the morning. It just made me think of that.
I think that's parents' logic towards their kids, because I know that if I feel bad now, I'm going to wake up and feel bad in the morning too. You know what I mean? Like, it hurts now, and it's going to hurt tomorrow. Like, that's for real.
Well, thank God you said something, because as quiet as it was, I thought that was a terrible thought that I had. Zach's over here
It's
just
very
laughing.
random.
Yeah.
It's very random.
Well, I don't know. It's came in my head. I thought I'd write it down.
Yeah.
Some winners, some losers. The second thought I had, this one's a little more, we'll say Aristotle. A straw, like a bendy straw.
Mm-hmm.
Does a straw have one hole or two? I'll just let that marinate for a minute while I drink
Like
my not Bud Light.
Like it's one continuous hole, or
I guess that would be like one. Or is it two holes, one on each end?
I would say that it's two holes, because if you were to block one end, therefore no liquid would go through it. I think it takes two holes to make a straw.
This is when I wish somebody would walk in right when you were saying that and have no idea what we were talking about at all.
Yeah.
That would be the perfect
The best straw
segue.
would be 3 holes.
Okay. Now we're in Bolden Ball territory.
Mm-hmm. But that's how I look at it.
Okay. It was just a deep thought I had in the shower. Like, straws. One hole or two. I don't know. I just thought it was. It doesn't have to go any deeper than that, Zach. I had a thought and I wanted to share.
I would say it's one cylinder, but it's 2 holes.
Okay. All right. Like at the machine factory that's making straws. You know,
I personally
do they go or does it go?
Well, it probably blows it.
One.
It blows the hole. It blows 2 holes.
Does it blow 2 holes?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Oh no, it makes a cylinder.
There's our 4th shirt.
Yeah.
Does it blow 2 holes? Then no one knows.
Okay,
what
well,
we're
for
talking
example, if it was open on the bottom of this, it would hold liquid. So
right.
When
the machine made this cup.
I know. So would this be 1 hole? And then if I cut it open on the bottom, would it be 2?
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
It'd be a giant straw, like
It's a
a
good
very
point.
giant
It's a good
rim
point.
job style straw.
I don't work in a straw factory, so it's irrelevant to me. I just thought it was interesting.
You're gonna get some bad press
It's okay.
from somebody who works at the straw factory.
Yeah, all 3 of our viewers all work at the straw factory.
Some guy's gonna be like, bendy or not, you don't do both. I'm
Yeah.
offended.
No, they get like real into it. I agree. Like, well, it depends on the velocity. Okay. That was it.
That kind of conversation reminds me of something Andrew would talk about, like the
Oh, yeah,
scientific,
that's what we need.
the scientific
That's
part
what we
of
need.
that.
The
You know
most
how he does that?
bottom
sometimes?
of the barrel farm boy version of like, well, let's get down to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he comes up with something that makes absolutely no sense except for to him. And then he's like, but I also build houses. You know,
But I also build houses,
that's why I know.
so I have clout. That's fantastic.
Love Andrew.
I'm gonna get away from my own random thoughts now because, like always, they're way better in my head
Well, no, just keep going.
when I get
No,
them
go
out.
for it.
No, that was it.
They're interesting.
You got 2. You got to have 1 more. We got to round it out.
Yeah, you got
3 holes.
Well,
the 3 hole system.
2 is even. So,
No, we need a 3 hole system.
all All right, let me come up with one real quick.
I figured you came with more than two. Like
I
I know.
have some for later.
Is a list if it's only two things?
Hey, I didn't have as much time as one would really want to have today, and I did only come with two. I'll be honest.
How many showers have you had lately though? Because you said you think about it while you're showering.
But I jot them down.
In the shower.
Well, no, I keep one hand out.
on a piece of paper.
I put my phone in a baggie.
It's like I have to hurry up because eventually the paper gets too wet. I can't write anymore. It's a really bad system.
Yeah, especially Bics. You know, Bic pens in the shower. They
Old
really
one.
they all run.
I got on eBay and found some from 1993, and the ink's just not very good. I tried to erase it. The eraser doesn't work.
The deepest third thought I could come up with on the fly was, I wonder how many people in the world are doing this exact same thing I'm doing right now.
Like thoughts or podcasts?
Podcast, just sitting here doing a podcast. I don't know.
Like a bunch of people.
Sure, but like, what's the number?
Everybody.
Everyone?
Everybody has a microphone.
Even my 1-year-old at home is just.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's probably holding out on us.
I mean, it's gotten pretty popular.
If my son had a podcast, it would be welcome back to
Yeah.
just random. He just yells at anything.
I will say that I think because there's so many podcasts, it's created the that scenario or situation where before I used to watch tons of podcasts, but now that there's so many, I only watch a couple because it's just there's so many. Like you're looking for the best ones. You know?
Okay, but the amount of podcasts has not any effect on you at all because you're watching the ones you're going to watch. It doesn't matter how many there are.
Yeah, but I think for every single person that you talk to, they're like, "Hey, have you ever seen these
Okay,
5 to 10
so
podcasts?" You know what I mean? It's
in
like,
conversation, you're probably not going to find as many people who watch
Sure.
the same podcast.
Yeah.
that
But
you
it
do.
is insane.
but it's
though.
just it's the same like listening to like if I gave you 10 CDs and then Zach gave you 10 CDs, do you have time to listen to all the like 20 CDs in a week and come back and tell me about it? Like,
Well, I do in the summer because I'm a teacher, but
yeah,
I totally get what you're saying.
you
Well,
know,
it's just like TV shows. It's just crazy how any TV show is popular because there's so many.
oh, I know why. It's because of people like my wife
Oh.
who will watch anything.
Yeah.
Anything. They're like, oh, the preview for that was absolute garbage. Let's get this going.
Let's see what's on
Let's see it. I feel like this is a gem. I really feel it. You know, like, and it's the worst thing ever. And then she won't admit it because, you know,
it. Okay.
oh, I actually enjoyed that. I'm like, you didn't watch a minute of it, but that's okay.
When did Robin Williams die?
I don't know.
I'm going to look it up
I
real
don't know.
fast.
Didn't he die and turn into a genie?
No, that was a plot in Aladdin or something.
The second one, right? The
second
Aladdin,
one that no one,
the
it was
second
straight
Aladdin-
to DVD.
The
No one
second
saw
Aladdin was Robin Williams, right?
it. Yeah.
I didn't watch the second one.
2014. So he's been dead for almost a decade,
Mhm.
which blows my mind.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic actors. Can you at least grant that? Like, you might not have seen a lot
I don't
of
think
his
he's
movies.
a bad actor. I just don't.
I think he's iconic.
Most of the time when he was like in movies that were comedy, it just didn't. You know, like everyone's like, "Oh man, Miss Doubtfire's really funny." I'm like, no. I mean, like I get it, but it just didn't do anything for me.
Well,
You know what I mean?
my
Like-
favorite movies of his are the more serious.
Serious movies.
Thank
That- except for, I mean, yeah, it was serious and funny. Was Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah,
That was
I like
both.
that.
That right there is one of my favorites of his because it's both realms. It's not
Yeah.
just one. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I like some of his comedies, but like I don't. No, I don't. If I watch it, there's a handful I watch of his, and they're mostly serious / might be a little funny, but mostly serious because I thought he did good in those.
Robin Williams he's so versatile.
Yeah.
And he started his career in kind of the same way like Jim Carrey did, and he was in Jim Carrey was on In Living Color. There was a show that Robin Williams was in, and I can't off the top of my head. No, it was before that.
Before Mark and Mindy?
Yeah, it was before that. He was in a little show,
Well, he did stand up too.
and he did stand up. Yeah,
the stand-up
that
was
was
great.
what he was known for
Yeah.
before. and I'm scrolling down to get to it. He was on Richard Pryor's stuff. Richard
Oh,
Pryor
yeah.
had him on a couple things before.
Yeah.
He was doing stand up. He was on the Richard Pryor show for a couple of
Was
episodes.
he? Was Robin Williams a writer? Did he write for
I don't-
anybody?
I feel like he had to have.
I figured he. I mean,
Well, the whole thing is he's always been on stuff.
I know that, but I
That's
always
the
wondered
thing.
if he was.
The only thing he's credited for are his stand up shows.
Okay.
So, like, he's not credited for writing
Well, I can't imagine that he
episodes of
just
shows.
how he is. I can't imagine he just showed up to every script and every movie and was like, "I'll just do exactly what you tell me." Like I had to
Right.
think that.
But I
he
feel
had-
like
he
I
wrote
feel like
as well,
with a
you know
lot of
what I mean?
people, if they know who he is, they knew how to write the movie so they can use him and let him. Kind
Sure,
of
they
do
cast the
his
right
thing.
person for the
Yeah.
the role, but
I mean, if you're gonna use Robin Williams, you gotta know who he is.
you would
and
think
stuff.
that
I don't feel like it was Robin Williams going out and like, especially as he got more famous. I don't see him going out and just going to random stuff and auditioning. I'm sure people came to
Okay.
him and say, "We need."
I gotta stop you there.
Huh.
Matt's so on the money, and I'll give you one movie that'll absolutely blast that out of the park. Aladdin. That is a cartoon. They filmed his lines before the animation.
Yeah.
That's not always how it goes.
no, it's yeah,
Sometimes they'll do the animation, and the voice actor will have to match the character.
Yeah.
But he's so good, they wrote the lines, he delivered his own lines, then they wrote it.
yeah.
So when you watch Aladdin and the genie turns into Rodney Dangerfield, and then he turns into, like, he just does all these characters. That wasn't in the script.
No,
None of that's in the script. Like, oh, well, you need to do a Rodney, like right now.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Would you think maybe in a serious movie, but in comedy, I don't feel like there's any way that they could bring him in and be like, "You got to stick to the lines."
No,
Like
and
you
he
know,
won't do
that's
it.
like the guy that's gonna, he might use that for a guideline, but the magic would be letting him say what he's gonna say. You know what I mean? The unpredictable stuff. So
Little Hollywood secret for when you're watching a movie and you're trying to decide who the alpha male is or who the person that's like in charge on set. Because we're not there, we're normies. We don't get to sit and watch movies get made. But I'll tell you what, when you watch the credits in the beginning and you see all the characters, like the first one's usually the lead character, right? Tom Cruise, Top Gun, Maverick. Okay. Then you go, bam, bam, bam. You got the people that are in the movie. Then, toward the end of those, you get with Jennifer Connelly, with Robert De Niro. And then and Morgan Freeman, who's not even in the movie. He just did like a voiceover in the background.
Mhm.
And Tom Cruise. Like that's Morgan Freeman is like the guy. Anytime you see and in an actor, they want you to know that actor is like the cheese in the movie. And I say that because a lot of Robin Williams movies that he's not the star, he's not just another name on the list. It's always with Robin Williams or and Robin Williams at the very end. Because he's a powerhouse. The gravitas that he had, it was outstanding. And I'm going to tell you some movies, and you tell me the ones you've seen and what ones you have. Okay? We'll just do it that way. Because it boggles my mind that you think you haven't seen any good movies.
I just haven't seen a lot of them.
He started his career as Popeye.
Mhm.
Have you seen Popeye?
Oh, yeah.
You've seen Popeye.
Yeah.
Okay. Without CGI, without any kind of help at all, other than the fact that they put tumors on his arms.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only help that he needed. Like, he didn't even need a prosthetic on his face.
Yeah.
He just was squinty-eyed the whole movie.
Uh-huh.
It's incredible. Go back and watch, like, early 80s Popeye. And it's like a cartoon character just came to life. The only other person in the world I can think of that did that in his career is Jim Carrey. Just is a walking, talking cartoon character. I don't know. There might be others. But that's the one that comes to the top of my mind. Jim Carrey, Robin Williams.
I had a real problem
What was your problem with it?
In the cartoon, Sweet Pea had one tooth, and in the movie, she had all her teeth. And I was like, I'm sorry, if you're gonna make Popeye look like Popeye, you gotta make Sweet Pea look like Sweet Pea. I'm sorry, like, you gotta have the one big,
Yeah, like a snaggle
The
tooth,
one
not even
big
a
tooth.
normal tooth.
you know what I mean? And like, but she has to talk normal with a big giant.
I
tooth,
thought you were
know
gonna
what
go
I mean?
full. What was that movie? Stranger? Was it? Oh,
On Strange Wilderness.
Strange Wilderness.
No, like she just has to have one tooth. I'm too literal for movies. Like when like, oh, this is based off a cartoon. I'm like, you did a really good job with everybody, but Sweet Pea just didn't work.
What was her name in? She was in The Shining. Jack Nicholson's.
Yeah, I can't remember.
She was olive oil. Shelley
Duvall.
Shelley Duvall. There you go. She was olive oil. That was incredible. The casting for that movie, Bluto was Bluto. It was fantastic. I can't believe we're talking about Popeye this much. Yeah. I did not anticipate that, but that's okay.
But for an old movie like that, it was crazy to see that actually on there and how close they got it to being like, yeah, this is Popeye.
Only a fly on the wall when they were pitching this movie.
Like they tried to do every dumb little thing you saw in the cartoon, like him twisting his hand to do.
He did all the things.
Like all that, like they did. They said we gotta try to do every crazy thing.
Yeah. Now I want to go watch it again. Yeah. Because it's.
I just felt like that movie should have.
Pappy looked like
it should have ended like Batman: the Dark Knight, where everybody eventually hated him. Because if I saw Popeye, I would lose my mind. I was like, that is the freakiest dude I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, if you saw that guy for real, you'd be like, A, crackhead, B, psycho. You know what I mean? Like,
what has happened to your forearm?
Yeah, I was like,
why are you
how
only
do
doing
you
wrist
do
curls?
that?
Yeah,
he just does this all day
his wrist curls the only thing he works on.
Yeah.
He's a sailor, so he can't do anything else.
Are you done with that, Popeye?
Yeah.
3 more sets. All right, get off Popeye.
Okay.
Seriously.
All right.
Jeez. Good Morning Vietnam I'm going like in the order of his career.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some movies in between, but I'm hitting the big ones.
All right.
Good Morning Vietnam, you hit it, Zach. I'll be honest with you, 100%. I've never seen this movie.
Really?
Yeah. It's on my to-do list.
It used to be on TV all the time.
All the time. I think that's why
I saw it.
That's why I didn't see it.
No, it is a good movie. It does represent the time it's in, and he makes it good.
Okay.
Makes it funny.
It's
fun. His parts are funny, but it's also the seriousness of Vietnam. So it's a really good movie.
Which I think when people saw that movie, now that you described it, that says to me, it paved the way for all these serious roles he did.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
But he's still funny.
Oh yeah.
Like one that he's not funny at all is Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I can't remember. I know the name, but I can't remember if I watched it.
I'm willing to bet out of all these movies I've listed, you've probably seen them all. Maybe halfway through at least.
Maybe.
Because when you say I don't know if I've seen Robin Williams movie, that blows my mind. Like he's too big to not accidentally see.
Well, I honestly avoided them a lot of the times because there was movies where like people were like, oh, I love Hook. It's so good. I'm like, I hate him in that movie. I absolutely hate him.
I can't wait to talk about the next movie on my list.
I love I like Hook.
Which is Hook.
Yeah, I understand the premise. I get like
a sequel, a true blue sequel.
Yeah, like
to
Peter Pan's some idiot loser now, and
yeah.
Then out of nowhere he's like, fake food, I'm all in. No, it's just
That's not real.
Why is that so unreal?
Yeah, and I just felt like Hook would have been like,
fly.
Yeah, like Hook was like disappointed, like, oh, a Peter Pan that's too easy to fight. I just feel like Hook would have been like, oh, let's kill this dude. Like, this is gonna be easy.
We
Stab.
Jump right into it.
Yeah, stab.
I want to put it.
And then feed him to the crocodile. Like, here you go, and it's violent, and the kids are crying.
Hook. I gotta pause it. I'm going back to Hook. Okay, we got a break coming up here.
Let's get
and before we do that, Dead Poets Society. Give me like a 30-second thought on it. If you have, you've seen
I've seen it. It's been a while since I've seen it. It was a good movie. Yeah, like you said, in that one, it's a serious movie. And it's actually, you know, it like you said, it shows that he doesn't have to do full out, coked out, funny, improv, anything like
drugs.
that.
Yeah, drugs.
He can just do a normal. He can be calm. He can do a good calm movie. So that,
And he was.
Yeah.
He wasn't even funny. Like, he wasn't trying to be funny at
No,
all.
that wasn't supposed to be. Yeah. So I like I said, good movie. Been a while since I've seen it, so I can't really go through details with you. But I remember it being a really good movie.
He was funny to the kids.
Yeah.
But he wasn't funny to, to the audience. Like, he was just saying, he was a good teacher.
What movie were we talking about?
Dead Poets Society.
I can't
He-
remember
he's
which one
a-
that is.
He teaches at a preppy school, like a rich kid's school. Like, he tries to get the boys to not take themselves quite so seriously.
Mhm.
And he ends up getting fired for his efforts.
Okay, I think
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I think I remember that a little bit now.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll come back and get back into the fight of Hook.
It's a hook.
Yeah.
All right.
Straight into it.
Be right back.
No, we should absolutely come back right in the middle of the argument.
Oh, I know. I
This is
just
exactly how we
I don't
should
think
start
it's
this
an
next
argument.
episode.
I'm not saying I didn't
Well,
like the
you
movie.
no. Originally, you said, "Oh, you just okay. You don't like
I
him.
don't. I
You don't like
hate,
him."
I hate Peter Pan in that.
Okay.
It could have been any actor playing. It was just like a sorry version of Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And Hook is like sophisticated, and I thought they played Hook really well. And I think Hook would have just shot him.
Dustin Hoffman.
He'd have been like, "Hey, look at this, turd," and shot him. You know what I mean?
We're talking about Hook. Bringing you back.
And then he's like, "Bring me some of that imaginary food.
Yeah.
Bring me some of that weird colored food."
No, I
that
was
we're all
gonna say it wasn't
enjoying.
even food. It was like, hey, can I get some?
Can I get some of that slop?
Get some of that yellow.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
colors. They were
like,
eating colors.
I like that
colors.
orange over there. It's stupid.
Like the writers of Hook,
Yeah.
when they were doing that scene, they wrote that scene. They're like, kids' imagination. Just put some colors in a bunch of bowls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
they
then
like
Green.
who was
red.
the kid that was mad all the time?
Rufio.
Rufio, man.
That sexy little kid was just so
That 21-year-old lost boy.
Yeah.
like, I'm sexy and
He
mad.
was the only one. All the rest of them were all the rest of them were young
I don't
kids.
like this fat Peter Pan because I'm sexy and mad. It's okay. It is comically cliched. That's my problem with the movie. I think if they were going to be like fantasy, go all out. But they were just like, what if Peter Pan was real? Like, that's a great premise. Great idea.
Yeah.
You guys just
But-
float on some dust in the middle of the, like they go through some,
They went
Rip-
past Big Ben.
yeah, they
It's
go through
legit.
some rip in the time continuum, and then they show up to a mountainous area where there's some mermaids, which I would have been like, what? Like, you know what I mean?
They
Like,
were not
no-
as shocked as they should have
nobody freaked out about that.
been. They should have been more shocked.
The thing that has a part of the movie
That
that
mermaid
I remember when I first saw it, laughed my ass off because of how fake it looked, was when the one kid, his big thing was he would roll up into a ball and roll
Yeah.
down the hill, but it was so horrible. Like
It was so fake.
It was so fake. It was so fake.
No, that movie is, I think, when they get to that island,
Yeah.
Ultraman should be there.
Yeah.
Like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, that. Like, he just comes up and he starts fighting everybody and then decides to get big. And that's a superpower, I guess. But, you
In
know,
a hot Kathy Bates.
in a hot Kathy Bates. With Edward Scissorhands.
Man.
But,
Retro.
I don't know. Okay, I'll say this. Decent premise, delivered very poorly. With
Okay.
some good actors. Like, there was very good actors in that. Who was Shmi? Who was that actor?
Hoskins.
Hoskins, yeah.
Yeah, awesome actor.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Bob Hoskins.
awesome actor. How did they get him to do that movie?
He wasn't in
Dude,
a lot of other
He did
movies.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Which
mean,
is
Of
the
course.
best movie
Of
of all
course,
time.
that's his thing.
That's the best
Obviously,
movie.
he likes
Yeah.
that type of movie.
Who doesn't cry when the shoes get turned into shoes? Who doesn't cry during that? Everybody.
Shoes get turned into
You mean
shoes?
get melted and killed?
What'd you
Yes.
say?
They're alive shoes, and they go to manual normal shoes.
What?
No, he never pulls them out. They just go completely.
I thought he pulled
no,
out just normal shoes.
No, just
How many
acid.
not Bud Lights have you had?
I thought he pulled them out in normal
No,
shoes.
no, he dipped them in and they're dead.
They were
Yeah.
dead.
He melted them.
I thought that's how they came up with the idea for Chuck Taylors.
Dude, that's the
Those
Mandela.
shoes.
The Mandela effect just happened to Matt.
I
Just
thought
now.
he pulled out just normal shoes.
They're called the
Wait a
Berenstain
minute.
Bears.
Wait. So with that theory,
Yeah, keep going.
everything else that would go through dip would turn into something real. So like if you dip
Yeah, if
Mickey
you're a
Mouse
cart-
in it would be a real.
It turned into a mouse. It turned a Ratatouille. That's how Ratatouille is born.
Ratatouille's a cartoon.
Yes, but it would be real. Yeah, well, it goes in stages.
More real.
Yeah,
It was more real.
It
It
goes
was
in
less
stages.
cartoon. This is a weird conversation.
You don't talk.
How did we get
about-
on the weird? How did we get on the Roger Rabbit?
Because
That actor is in it.
Oh yeah,
the actor and then Matt thinks they turn into real shoes if you dip them in that.
dude, that's the Mandela effect.
That would be the same.
Like, you really thought
don't
that?
you remember at the end Doom gets sprayed with it? So he would just turn into a regular dude and still kill
he
everybody.
turns into Doc
Yeah, he did.
from Back to the Future.
I believe that.
Great Scott, Marty. Okay, so
Alright.
Hook, are
Yeah.
you saying it's bad or good?
I'm saying that
For Robin Williams.
I felt like it could have been way better. I felt like they had a good
Okay,
premise,
okay.
but it could
Or
have been
is
way
that
better.
because, well, and you're saying because of the design of the character, not necessarily the actor, right?
I am saying that it didn't matter who played that character.
Okay.
It was going to be
So
terrible.
that's what I was trying to. So it's not necessarily because of Robin Williams, it's because
I
of
get
the-
like Peter Pan comes back. Like I guess he.
You had to get a boyish character. Like you had to get an adult that can play the serious adult who grew up. And he did that. And then he turned into, Peter Pan. Now I'll say this about Robin Williams: the thing that he didn't have going for him in that movie is that at the age of 30, Robin Williams looked 65.
Yeah.
So to try to make him look like a young lost boy, all they did was spike his hair up. He still looked old.
That's all it takes.
That's all it
Yeah.
takes. Just have your hair messy a little bit. But they took his glasses off and they spiked his hair up, and he could crow. And all of a sudden he was Peter Pan again. So yeah, I mean there were certain things about that movie that you couldn't get around. But I mean for what it was, this is the reason why it was my favorite movie. Remember when we did the episode of nostalgic movies that
Yes.
actually suck?
Yeah.
Like movies you watched as a kid that actually sucked.
Yeah.
That was my number one.
Yeah.
It's an excellent
Yeah.
movie, but it's not. It's actually a really bad movie.
Oh yeah.
It's a really bad movie. Julia Roberts is not believable as Tinkerbell in any stretch.
Yeah.
No stretch. She hated that role. You could tell.
Yeah.
The moment she got on the screen, you're like, this woman does not
He
want
didn't
to be
bring.
here.
He didn't bring a shoe.
Were you looking that up?
I watched
this
the video.
time?
I totally watched that video.
I knew you. I thought you were like texting something.
No, I had to make sure that I was wrong.
Matt has prior engagements. He's over
I had to
texting.
make sure that I was wrong about Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
He was gonna
I
die,
do like
I
the
know.
fact that the story. This is how the story of how the Chuck Taylors were made.
Yeah,
That's-
when they pulled it out, they're like, "Man, those are some great shoes."
What a great sequel, though.
Yeah.
Like
great
they
shoes.
perfect the dip,
Yeah.
So it doesn't
and now
get
it doesn't kill him. Now it turns him real.
to real.
Yeah.
Because you could
4-foot mouse that talks.
you could absolutely do a Roger Rabbit sequel.
Oh yeah.
Like you have Roger
I looked
Rabbit.
up
That's
who-
just a cartoon.
I looked up Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the first thing that came up was Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2. That's the first thing
For
that
real?
popped up. Yeah, that's the first thing that
Well,
popped
people are
up.
probably clamoring for it.
I don't know. Dude.
By the
Does
way, the
anybody
word
know what this-
clamoring. I'm sorry.
Does anybody know
What does it
what that
look like?
movie
To
is?
clamor? What does it look like to clamor?
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I don't know
what
why
that-
you use
I
the
don't know.
word. I just
You
assume
clamor
you're
for something. Like, it means
Oh.
like you're really you're trying hard for something.
I guess what I'm saying is Who Framed Roger Rabbit's better than Hook.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll get on board with that.
All right.
No,
I'll get on board with that.
I'm pro Hook. I like Hook. I don't like Peter Pan.
Okay, let's go. Let's keep going on the list.
All right.
Next in his tour, I think that was like 94. 95 was Aladdin.
Okay.
He did several movies. Like he did an animated movie called Robots, and he did a lot of them. But I think the
the penultimate like animated movie for Robin Williams was Aladdin.
Sure. I thought Aladdin was great.
Interesting story. Like he got severely underpaid for that first role for Aladdin. The movie did amazing. It was the first movie I, as a kid, saw in the theaters. Just FYI, and it was an amazing movie. They made a straight-to-DVD sequel called Return of Jafar, and it tanked like naturally. Like it didn't even have a theater run, so like it didn't make much money. He refused to do it. So if you ever go back and watch, that's not Robin Williams' voice in the second. But they talk him into coming back for the third one. They're like, hey, this third one, we're actually going to put it in the theaters this time. You should come back. And for whatever reason, he did. But, you know.
Did he do the actual cartoon?
I didn't know there was a third one.
No.
He didn't do the
No.
cartoon. I couldn't remember if that was him or not.
It was probably the same guy that got to do two.
Oh, yeah.
I would imagine. But anyway.
It was Will Smith.
Yeah, they got Will Smith. Yeah, when he was like 10. Mrs. Doubtfire was the next one, and that's not on Matt's list of good movies. I thought it was like
but it's so believable.
it was like an off-color comedy in the same way like Cable Guy was like an off-color. I think Cable Guy was much darker, but like Mrs.
Cable
Doubtfire.
Guy was don't even compare it. Like that's one of my favorite.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's dark comedy.
Yeah, sure.
Mrs. Doubtfire is kind of a dark comedy.
What if Miss Doubtfire would have fell in love with somebody as Miss Doubtfire? That's what I was.
Oh man, you can't make that movie today.
I was like he turns into Miss Doubtfire, and then someone's like, "Damn, Miss Doubtfire's sexy."
And then Kathy Bates comes out.
Then sexy Kathy Bates comes out and like, "Hey, Miss Doubtfire."
No, I'm actually.
She doesn't call her by her first name.
I'm thinking about
Miss Doubtfire.
We just have characters that keep coming up anytime we have Matt.
Yep.
I forgot
Sexy
where.
Cat-
I was
forgot
trying to
about
remember Sexy
Kathy
Catherine,
Bates.
where that came from.
That was from our scary.
Well, how do you
Yep,
get? How
it
do you?
was.
How do you? How are you afraid of a sexy?
I think Mrs. Doubtfire, though, if you want to make that movie today, the only way that works is Robin Williams' character doesn't want to go back to being the guy. He just wants
Like
to stay.
she realizes
Well,
that this is what she wanted
This is what I wanted all along.
all along.
I like how but the only thing about the movie, it's like, I feel like about they do this premise, but in the end, it's like, yeah, you can't do that. like you went to court and still lost his kids. It's like, you can't, like, yeah, we should put you in jail. Like,
Yeah,
this is
that was the coolest part of
I
the
know.
movie.
They didn't play along like, this is going to be a happy ending and everything. It was like, literally like, no, dude, you can't do that.
The judge was like the audience.
Yeah.
The judge was like, I just watched you do that. There's no way I'm giving you kids.
Yeah, there's no way.
And the only way it is a happy ending is when Sally Field is like, I don't care that my kids are getting raised by psychopaths. She just rips up the document and is like, you can have your kids back.
Yeah.
Then he dresses in drag the
You
whole time.
convinced me.
You talked me into
Now
it.
his job is
You're-
to do
you're-
it all the time.
Your rare passion.
I actually do like Mrs. Doubtfire. It was not supposed to be like, for me, it wasn't the comedy I think they thought it was. I just think it's an endearing story. I just like, I don't know, I like when guys dress up like girls. Jumanji was next.
Yeah, I like Jumanji.
Jumanji's a classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
With the understanding that it didn't matter if he was in it or not.
You talking about like the actor himself?
Yeah, I don't care if Robin Williams.
Okay, now I feel like you're going out of your way just to hate on Robin Williams.
Dude, that is a movie where they were like, okay, this is a board game comes to life. We're just gonna like go all out. Like it doesn't like the guy didn't go. The hunter didn't come in and go, well, I have gold, so I better go to the bank and exchange this for dollars. He just like threw money down. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna murder people. You know, and
Aztec gold.
it was awesome. Like, yeah, no one questioned it.
Why would you? It's Aztec
no
gold.
big deal. Yeah,
It's
okay.
worth like millions.
He gave him a whole bag full of it,
Yeah.
and he's just like, yeah, I just want one gun. The guy's like, you can buy the store with that, but yeah, go ahead.
Whatever you want.
Whatever
don't
you
have
want,
to sign
dude. What are you gonna do with this? I'm gonna murder somebody
just-
with it. Hey,
by the
go right
way-
ahead, man. Get
By
it.
the way, I have this video game, not realistic gun that I can
Yeah, I have
sell
an
you.
elephant gun that was
Yeah.
only
I
created
just
in video
gigantic
games.
I just so
Yeah.
happen to
Straight
have
from Roger
this
Rabbit.
gun.
Hey, you know this gun that was only invented like 100 or so years ago? I need ammunition for that right now. Here's Aztec gold. And that guy was like, got all of that. You know what I
Here
mean?
it is.
If you're gonna do it, then do it.
Like Kung Pao. You have those
Yeah.
triangles right here in my hand.
So that's a movie where I'm like, okay, they were just like, it's going to be a board game movie.
Who else could do that?
Like, well,
Well,
sure, that's
no,
fine.
think about
Jim
the
Carrey.
actual.
Jim Carrey
Okay,
could have done a
fine.
movie.
Well-
There's a short list of
Yeah,
actors
there's a couple
who could
guys
do
that could have done. Christopher Walken.
it. Chris Farley.
Chris Farley, Christopher Walken. You know what I mean?
Walken, that's-
Christopher-
Believe it's your turn. Roll doubles and you go again.
yeah, no. I think the movie was just good.
Okay.
Altogether, like I'm glad he was in it because he did do it some justice. But I just thought it was a good movie. Like, it was chaotic, like monkeys, like
Okay.
like
But if John Cusack does that role,
I like John
you hate
Cusack.
Jumanji.
I like John Cusack.
I'm sorry.
I like
If
Cusack.
John Cusack does that movie,
He has to
you
smoke
hate
the whole time too. Yes, like and have like weird monologues off to the side. Yeah, of course, absolutely.
I can't believe it, Ryan.
It could have been
said that.
Professor Snape. I don't care. It would have been great.
Oh my
Snape
God.
would have been like, oh, there's some monkeys coming. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it didn't matter. It would have been awesome.
Cover.
I just liked that movie no matter what. I just thought it was
Yeah.
a cool movie.
Okay, fair enough.
Like that made me feel like a kid watching that movie when I was a kid. It was
Just-
weird acting like a kid when I was a kid.
Parallels in movies. We're talking about Hook and Peter Pan. So in Peter Pan, the actor that plays the father in the cartoon is the same actor that is Captain Hook. The implication being that it's the kid's dream.
Mhm.
That Captain Hook is like their sometimes verbally abusive father.
Sure, very, same premise as Mario 2.
Same, absolutely. Same premise as Jumanji. The hunter is Jonathan Hyde. Same actor as his father.
Oh yeah.
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken is not in that movie, but if he was, that would be good. What
He
was
was-
the next?
He was every time I remember that Christopher Walken was in a Batman movie, it makes me laugh.
Yeah,
It makes me
he
laugh.
was like a nobody throwaway character.
And then like Catwoman was like, it's a good way to kill him by killing both of us with a non-realistic situation.
Yeah, it's Tim Burton for you.
I like Tim Burton.
I do too.
I like him.
With
I,
a taser, a kiss with a taser, and that just like.
Yeah.
Completely.
What if they both survived and they're like, that was the hottest thing that ever happened? Like, we have to do that every night. Yep. It's the only way.
I don't know.
It's the only
I
way.
got nothing.
All right.
I got
Go
nothing.
on.
So what were Jumanji? Great.
Yeah, super. I was gonna say the Tim Burton aside, like, what a world we would live in to see Tim Burton's third movie, which would have featured Two-Face. Because
Yes.
Two-Face was in the first one. It was Billy D. Williams would have played Two-Face. Would have brought in one of the Wayans brothers to play Robin, which I thought was interesting. It was a
One
really-
of Wayne's brothers or Damon Wayans?
Wait, those are different.
There's a lot of them. Damon Wayans
I
was
think it was
pretty
Damon.
popular at the
Yeah, I
time.
think it was Damon.
I'm
has to
guessing
be
it would have been. I think they were too young.
I get him
Keenan would have been
confused.
too
Yeah,
old.
Damon's he's the old one.
Marlon is the
No,
younger
Keenan's
one?
old.
Keenan's oldest, but
Then
then it's
Damon.
Damon,
Yeah,
and then
then
it's
Damon.
then it's them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never
So
mind.
I think it would have been, which
I
would have
think
been
it's
awesome.
I think it's
Damon's
Damon.
awesome.
Oh, Damon.
Damon would have been awesome.
But that was the talk.
Yeah.
And then a spin-off.
And he wouldn't have been Rain Man. He would have been what? Blankman. What was he? What was
Blank Man.
Blankman? He would have been Blankman.
That's funny. He was Blank Man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Great movie.
Okay. But like in this hypothetical Tim Burton world, before we even had Marvel connecting universes,
Mhm.
like Tim Burton had it mapped out to have Nick Cage as Superman and have
How great would that?
Michael Keaton and Nick Cage like be together
Uh-huh.
in a movie
Mhm.
down the road. But like it's just the insight, the foresight of like Tim Burton. He's just a genius. But anyway, so after he did Miss Doubtfire, he did Jumanji, he did Jack. You ever see the movie Jack?
No, I did not. I
doubt
know the
you've
premise.
seen it.
I know the premise.
I
I've seen
remember-
clips of it, but I wasn't.
Man, I remember
interested
the
in it.
cover of it. Remember, like when you used to go to
Yeah.
we go to Scott's.
Oh
they
yeah,
had
yeah.
the-
It'd always be
I
there.
remember the picture. Of,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. So what? Doesn't he act like a child?
The
now or
premise,
whatever?
the premise is he has a bone disease that like
Gives him a little
that
Benji
makes
Buttons
him-
disease.
it's almost like Benjamin Button in that he's a
Little Ben-
40-year-old. He looks like a 40-year-old man in a like 10-year-old body.
Gives him a little Benji Button's disease.
Yeah, but when you say it like that, it's freaking weird. I don't know that I like that at all.
Oh, Benji Button's
Don't call him
disease.
Benji Buttons, man. That's so bad. Benji Buttons.
Little
is-
Benji
oh,
Button. Just a little bit of it though.
I got a case
I don't
of
know.
heebie-jeebies.
I don't
when you
know.
said that.
I don't know if you know this, but you can get just a little bit of Benji Button's disease, like not full blown.
Oh my god.
Imagine that diagnosis. You got a little Benji Button's
See,
disease.
you keep saying it.
I know.
I'm not with it. I'm not with
It,
that.
it's just like gets worse as
Drink 16 glasses of milk. You'll be fine.
Oh man,
In a row.
I don't like that.
Anyway,
Flubber.
Benji Button's disease.
Yeah, that's Jack. Jack was kind of a bomb. It didn't do well, but I liked it. It was a good movie. Flubber came out, remake of was it Jerry Lewis?
Yeah.
Jerry Lewis remake.
Oh,
The green goop
yeah.
bounces all over the place.
Yeah, I think that's called.
It was wacky. It
It's
was.
Isn't that called Gak?
Yeah, at the time, they should have just called it Gak.
Nickelodeon. Didn't Nickelodeon
For
steal
sure.
that from him?
I don't think it was a. Yeah, you know what? I think you're on to something.
Wasn't it a byproduct of Benji Button's disease? A little bit of Benji
He's
Button's
on to it.
disease.
This is his new.
Yeah. Spin stuff.
This is his
back.
new
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands.
I know.
This is gonna come back.
Anyhow, okay.
But no, I'm not kidding. Like,
I'll go
I
on.
keep waiting for that story to come out where he's like, you know where that came from, and he tells us.
I just told you where Gak
I
came
know.
No, that was a good song.
Okay.
That actually made me think. That was a deep thought. The next two movies that I thought that were really impactful. Actually, I'll say next four.
Okay.
He goes from these like lighthearted kid, you call them kids movies, Mrs. Doubtfire, Jumanji,
Jumanji?
Jack, Flubber. All these are like kids movies.
That's the real name of the movie.
Flubber, yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible name.
Well,
then he does-
the old movie was called whatever the professor's name was. That's what they
Flubber, little blob.
Yeah. No,
First
that,
couple
no,
blob.
no.
Professor something. The Absent-Minded Professor.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it just came to me. Absent-mindedly.
Yes.
Good Will Hunting was the next movie to come out for him.
What was it?
Good Will Hunting.
Oh.
Matt Damon. He's the psychiatrist.
Mhm.
Man, that movie's so great, and he's not even like the lead actor in that movie. He's fantastic.
I don't think I've seen that movie from start to finish.
It's really
I think it's a good movie. I like him in that, the interactions he has with him. I think that's
Right.
really cool. Really good.
He's not even the main actor, but
No.
when you watch the movie, you realize like he steals every scene he's in.
Oh yeah.
He's
No, he
absolutely
does
the
great.
focal point. Matt Damon could go take a hike in every scene. What Dreams May Come.
That's the
That's
best one.
awesome. I love that.
Okay,
movie.
so okay, are you following Matt? Like listening to every movie I'm listing off, he's seen every one.
I've seen something.
I know.
I've heard of them.
Yeah,
He's
I've
seen
yeah,
every one of these
Well,
movies. And he started the thing going, well, I might have seen one or See,
no,
that's what it
that
sounds
movie.
like.
That's one of my favorite. Probably my favorite movie of his.
It's up there for me. It's one or two.
It's such a like the whole story behind it and stuff, and I think he does a great job.
Now he's looking at Matt Damon.
Yeah. I was trying to confirm that there is a real little Benji Buttons.
That's not even a thing. I refuse to go along with it.
No, but that's one of the, like I said, one of my favorite movies of his.
He's not funny at all in that movie.
No, it's a serious movie.
It's a very serious
No, it's
movie.
like if you're gonna ask me my favorite movie by him, that's it. That movie is great. That movie's hard to watch. It's too real. It's like it's to believe that you loves and cares about somebody so much to do what he did, which is like a kind of a Dante's Inferno thing. Where it's
Yes.
just like I'm going to walk through the depths of hell to accomplish, whatever it is, the love, help the love of my life, whatever it is. He found his kid. It's like it's emotional, like
Yeah.
just a very emotional roller coaster. You don't expect it. It's to me, it's his Truman Show. When
Yes.
Truman Show came out, I was like, this ain't funny. And then I realized, I'm like, this is one of the coolest movies I've ever watched.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Great comparison.
Yeah.
I
Nobody
think,
thought that was a serious movie. They're like, Jim Carrey, it's going to be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his wife's
Well, I was
hot.
a kid when I saw it, so I didn't think it was going to be
His
funny.
wife's hot. You know what I mean?
She's no Kathy Bates, but she's all right. I think that What Dreams May Come, and actually you were right, it is a Dante's Inferno. Like it's a modernization of Dante's
Absolutely.
Inferno.
Such cool moments.
Yeah.
Like if you're into
One of the only Cuba Gooding Jr. movies I like
absolutely.
is that one.
I thought he did well in that movie, but if you're a person that likes any kind of religious gaming or movies, lore kind of thing, it's a cool movie to watch to see that kind of premise of hell or whatever you
Yeah.
want to
Heaven
call it,
and hell.
purgatory,
Actually,
heaven
everything.
and hell. Yeah,
Everything.
it's such
all
a
the different.
cool
Yeah.
concept of it,
Yes.
and so and like just the madness of it. Once he finds his wife and stuff, it's like it's a hard move for me. It's hard to watch because it feels so real. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be that guy.
And then I'm like, but I think
You're gonna go off.
It was
I can
going-
tell. You
I
were
think
setting
he's
it
got
up.
a little bit of.
If it was volleyball,
Yeah, I
he had
think
the
he had a
ball
little
right
bit
Yeah.
of punch.
here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna keep going until I can spin it.
I don't want
want
this
it.
to be the next Edward Scissorhands things.
Yeah.
You know what
Yep. I was gonna say, that, and I did say this is one of my favorite Robin Williams movies. It's a great movie. I'm not trashing the movie at all. I didn't like the liberties they took with the afterlife. It's like they borrowed from reincarnation. They borrowed from Catholicism. They borrowed from
I mean? Sure.
all kinds of different things. And that's okay. It's creative. It's artsy. But where you lost me is how is he going to get his wife back? That was the most compelling part about the whole thing.
Yes.
I'm drawn in. I'm like, oh my
Absolutely.
God, how is he going to get her back? But when you realize that you're mixing all these different religions, you didn't set any ground rules. You didn't make the rules.
Sure.
So now you can come up with any MacGuffin you want to
Well, do you think that they wanted?
just get her back, and that's
Sure.
you lose the gravity of it.
Do you think they just wanted to come up with a premise that was more limitless? Because I think taking a little bit from every
But
religion
they didn't want to piss people
was
off.
probably their way of catering to all
They don't want to
demographics.
piss people
Because
off.
if they would have stuck to like
Back then, I
strict Christian, then somebody would have been like, "Well, I mean, that's just that religion. I don't believe."
Well,
Like,
the thing is this was back in a time when it is not like today. So
it's not
you-
very kosher.
So
to talk
so
about
I don't
religion in
think
the first place.
I don't think however they laid it out, I don't think that was they were trying to appease everybody. I think they just liked the aspects. They knew all the different religious aspects or whatever. They just liked them, so they were trying to.
They could have took
They're
pieces
throwing
and
them in there.
parts.
Yeah, they were just putting.
They
in
took pieces and parts to make
I don't
more
think
of
it
a
was-
compelling
I don't,
movie.
yeah, I don't think they were trying to like win anybody over or say. This
I just
part's
think
better.
they wanted to be
I think
limitless with it.
It's
to be
just like
honest.
anything else. So you're like, well, this is just my interpretation. I think the whole idea behind that movie was just trying to show the power of their connection.
Okay,
Yeah,
like
you know what I mean?
like listen,
Soulmates.
all that's
the
great,
power of soulmates. That's what was the whole thing.
and that's great. They nailed that.
Yeah.
No problem with that.
Yeah.
It was powerful. It was gripping.
Where was Spawn?
But the stakes just weren't there. All they would have had to do would just do a like in the opening part of the movie, the first act, just set up the rules. Set up like, well, okay, what happens if he does go to hell? Like, what does he lose? Like, they didn't set anything up like that. They just said, oh, you can't do that. You can't go there and get her. It's impossible. And then true love wins, and he brings her back. Like, it fell flat
well,
for
was
me.
it? Yeah, but okay. So the idea of like they're saying when they're saying he can't go do it, they're not saying like he physically can't go do it. They're saying if he goes there, he's going to be consumed. in
That's
that
what I'm
that-
saying. It's
Yeah.
impossible to do. You'll get stuck.
But the idea was that's why they were trying to say they were trying to believe that he thought his will was powerful enough, their connection was powerful enough that he thought he could do it. And
You don't see how that falls flat?
I do if you. It just depends on what you
If
want.
you don't have rules, you can
Well,
say
that's what-
anything you want to say.
And for the most part, yes, but it's obviously he didn't. He almost didn't. Now the only thing they didn't do is explain how he came back because obviously he slipped into it and she came out of it at the end. Remember?
Yeah.
And then he slipped into it, and so I don't know what happened to get him out. If they pull, but you don't ever find that out.
Okay,
But
if you
does
don't
it
know,
fall?
isn't that
But
bad writing?
It is. But
I feel
it's
like
not. It's not. It's not. If you're. It just depends on what you want. If you want a happy ending or you want a more real ending.
Okay, that is one of the most like it's
Yeah.
fantastical.
Yeah.
Like the whole movie's fantastic, but it's grounded in real emotion, real stakes,
Uh-huh.
real.
Yeah.
So if it's going to be so grounded in real, it has to have real rules.
I feel like there had to be
That's
some,
just my thing.
some sort of sacrifice, which like Dante's Inferno, he never came back. They make it to paradise. Like they don't come back to the living.
Yeah.
They go on together in the afterlife to paradise. So it's like, do you Silent Hill, weird reference, but then in the movie she does this to win, and then she doesn't get to go back.
Yeah.
She's stuck in
Stakes.
purgatory.
It's called
That
stakes.
is stakes. So
There's no stakes. In
I
it.
feel like in that movie, it wouldn't have hurt anybody's feelings to be like, look, we're not going to go back to the physical plane, but we found our paradise. Which means we went to hell. We didn't really leave necessarily. We just found a place where we can exist in paradise. Like I said, 'cause to me, it's their version of a Dante's Inferno. And like I said, they don't make it, like, they don't like go and they let them go back. You know what I mean? They find paradise. So that's where they live forever. So
Speaking of purgatory, I'm going to have to leave the viewer in purgatory because we're out of time. But we can do something we haven't done in a long time.
What's that?
A part 2 to our conversation.
Okay.
So the next episode we're going to have is going to be centered on this carry forward. So
Okay.
we will see you next time around. Thanks for watching. As always, Matt's our guest. He'll be back with us next time. He waved again. We'll see you next time. Movies and shit.
Yeah.